Welcome back to Nicholas Comic Corner Classic, less known classic. This episode 1685 and Doubleshot number 1579. Two Marvel trades. Both of them feature the Hulk. Yep. First up it is Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads. And you're probably thinking, Crossroads? If you know Marvel comic history, you know about the story arc that ran in Incredible Hulk from issues 300 to 313. And this story arc takes place during that period of time. And apparently, the Black Spider-Man got involved in this stuff. Yes. Yeah, mostly put in the way, like Spider-Man the Black Cat, by the way, they're a couple in this period of time. So, they come with a Norn stone, read this woman named Carla, I think her name is. And, of course, also, we have a bit of, like, swapping, like, going all over the place here. Like, going to the Crossroads, running to the Hulk, going to the Savage Land, running to Moondragon and Devil Dinosaur. Those of you who don't know who the heck these two are, creation of the late Jack the King Kirby, making the first appearance back in Devil Dinosaur number 1. And then he runs into another Jack Kirby created characters, the Eternals. Yes, they pop up here too. And basically the main villain of this series is, we also have this happen to Spider-Man, where it has a little mouth thing. Yeah, it's not brought up after this. Yeah, for some reason it isn't. The thing starts out basically with, they're in New York City, and J. Jonah possibly the president. From the back of this head, you probably think, is this Barack Obama? No. It's implied to be Ronald Reagan, or it could be George Bush. Not really sure who it could be. They don't really say, because this particular person is not the president. You're probably thinking, wait, who this person is? This seems very familiar. As something that happened back, I think it was like Amazing Spider-Man 500, I think it was like either 82 or 83, where this fake president turns out to be the Chameleon. Yes, the Chameleon, one of his many disguises. And apparently the Chameleon's dastardly plan was to, get this, poison Jameson. Why poison Jameson, might ask? Who the heck freaking knows? And thinks, he's not going to kill him, the death threats. Oh, my friend on the other hand, you see, your friend, he's going to do that. Shoot you. Impossible. The Secret Service will clear this area. Look down. And by the way, there is a laser point at him. You're probably thinking, who is targeting him? Is the Black Widow? No, it's the Punisher. Yes, the Punisher is targeting the Chameleon. Though it's quite hilarious, but shockingly, the Chameleon does not appear in this Punisher. Also appears smiling. Lan, who is the artist, loves the character. At least that, I'm sure for a fact that he probably wanted the smiling to appear in this miniseries. But I'm sure his editor told him, okay, you can have your smiling, but don't have it during the actual battles. Fans have pointed this out for years. That is a bad thing to do. Smile when people are beating up other people. So yeah, Peter's smiling here because Lan loves his smiles. At least got hands to the coloring. It's actually pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. And then run into the main villain of this miniseries. No, not this guy here. Oh no. By the way, his name is Moondark. And you're thinking, who the heck is Moondark? He's a minor villain. Yes, I believe he's the enemy of... let me look him up on here. I think he's the enemy of somebody. Yeah, he's essentially like I said, a minor villain. Let's see if I can find him here. The guy is so obscure that I kind of know who he is, due to the fact I read a lot of comics. So, yeah. Yeah, he's a character. There's a couple of them per se. The original Moondark. Yeah, he made his first appearance back in Marvel Team Up number 12. Yes, seriously. Where he fought Spider-Man and Werewolf by Night, then he like, this guy has appeared not many times over the years. Yeah, it's like Peter David dug up a very obscure character. Here are your appearances to him. Issue 12, Marvel Team Up. Issue 91. 56-59, Ghost Rider Volume 2. This was the Johnny Blaze run. The third annual Web of Spider-Man. That was his last appearance. Okay, this third annual, I should point out, came out in 1987. The first two issues of this miniseries came out in July 2011. So yes, Peter David pulled a very obscure villain. And he's here just for these two issues. And that's it for him. Then we have this sorceress who appeared in this miniseries. Named Carla, the Norn Queen. Yes, seriously. This book here is not her first appearance. No. She's in Thor comics. Yep, she is. Yeah, she is a Stan Lee character. Made her first appearance in Journey to Mystery 107. That was technically her first appearance. In a backup feature for Bold of the Brave. Yep. And she's been dead since Thor 700. Yeah, she was a sort of a recurring character in the pages of Thor for a long time. Yep. And her last no appearance to date, well, she did appear in 700, where apparently she died. Yep, she died. And, of course, in the past, of course, her most recent appearance, aside from this miniseries, was actually in the Mighty Valkyries book. Yeah, that book right there is the most recent appearance to date. As for why she's there, I have no idea. Yep. Yeah, and she's pretty much the main villain in this miniseries. Yeah, a character with a supporting character for enemy of Bold of the Brave. Yeah, Doctor Strange knows who she is. Oh, and here's your Crossroads connection. Spider-Man's at the Crossroads running into, well, the Hulk. According to Doctor Strange, he's supposed to water this place for all eternity, and he gets back out no problem after like a year. Yep, and here's that image. Yeah, this whole Crossroads thing is basically having the Hulk to be left alone for a certain period of time. Excuse me, you're probably thinking, like, who came up with this idea for the Crossroads? Well, I know the Crossroads themselves, it was the creation of Bill Mantlo and Sal Buscema. Yes, this is the Crossroads story arc. Not surprising you had, well, the alien symbiote have a guest appearance by that, per se. Because, well, that was simply put basically his appearance. Now, like I said, it just appeared in Incredible Hulk from 300 to about 315, which I think that's when they wrapped up the story arc. Yeah, where it's occasionally appeared over the years, like appeared in an issue of Avengers, a couple issues of Alpha Flight, 2 issues of Savage Hulk, which reference that very storyline, first issue of the most recent volume for Juggernaut, Hulk versus Hercules, and this very miniseries. Yep. Yeah, of course, Doctor Strange is being called in. Oh yeah, by the way, we have Greg Land ripping off a freaking xenomorph for this creature. Yeah, that's a freaking xenomorph. Why the heck Land thought it a good idea to rip this off? My guess is the reason why that he's not been told to change this, because Marvel owns Fox. And Fox cannot sue them over using that likeness because, well, Disney owns Fox. So there's that. Then we have a bunch of female warriors pop up here. Yep, and here's the Eternals drawn by Greg Land, which I gotta admit, they don't look that bad on the Greg Land's artwork. I mean, yeah, they're smiling per se, but they actually do look not that bad per se. But this, oh, look, it's the Black Talon. Of course, it's the Black Talon. Minor villain. And look, cool, a Celestial. Good job, Land, for actually making a Celestial look pretty accurate. Because it's good to freaking aliens. And also, for some reason, we gotta have Icarus, the leader, the field leader of the Eternals, posing for some reason. Yep. But this miniseries is just pure fun. Love it. I think Peter David himself does an absolute great job with it. I think the only reason why he decided to include the Hulk in here, because he's had one of his most successful runs he's had over the years, aside from, let's say, X Factor, Young Justice. Incredible Hulk was actually one of his first big successes he had over the years. I like the fact he revisited the Hulk here, even though that the storyline he's visiting here is not something he came up with. That was Bill Manslow. And my only guess is the reason why the Eternals was included here, the movie. That was the only reason why. I give this book a 10 out of 10. It's just damn good. Alright. Excuse me. Next up it is the finale for a Hulk run. Yes. We have the final trade that collect issues from Immortal Hulk, Volume 10 of Hell and of Death, collecting the last 5 issues. Of Immortal Hulk. Issues 46 to 50. And pretty much these issues have it where we kind of wrap up the plot of Betty Ross, where Bruce Banner basically, well, supposed to be weak, but he's going to get beefier again. And we also have Gamma Fly appearing here too, because they also recently, during these issues coming out, they also had their own miniseries come out the same period of time. And, well, basically, they couldn't exactly quarter him. So we have Henry Peter Geinrich, who is, at this point in time, the lead of the Alpha Flight program. Contact the Avengers to deal with the Hulk. And you're thinking, the Avengers. And those of you who don't know this, Henry Peter Geinrich was the very first government liaison to the Avengers. So that's how he knows them. And why would he contact the Avengers? Because the Hulk wasn't found a member of the Avengers. And if anybody can deal with the Hulk, it is the Avengers. Yep. And by the way, it's the current lineup. Especially we have the Don Nicholas version of Thor pop up in here too. Yep. Also, we have She-Hulk pop up in here. And she calls herself Hulk. Despite the fact it's She-Hulk. Plus, I love the variant covers that Joan Bennett does here, where it's clear homages to classic Hulk covers. I don't know which ones, but yeah, just really good here. You have the Avengers versus the Hulk, which is just so good. And then, of course, you have Hulk disappear, where he runs off with his beautiful wife, Betty Ross, where apparently they go to a hotel room, and they just hang out there for a hotel suite. Yeah, so Betty Ross hangs out there, and then she transforms into her human self. And Hulk's like, I figured you could do that. And there's no mention of Bruce Banner here. They do go into him later. So, and then we have Jennifer Walters turn back. We have She-Hulk turn back into Jennifer Walters, which is quite nice. Yep. Of course, here's Thor in his current look from Don Nicholas' run. Yep. And after this, Betty leaves. Yeah, she flies off, and she's not seen the book ever again. Her next appearance after this will actually be in the most recent run for Defenders. Yes. Also done by Al Ewing. Yeah, that was her next appearance after this, was actually in Defenders. I think this was Defenders like Volume 6. Yeah, I think it was 6 because it was just a mini-series. Yeah, for some reason they made this a mini-series. Now you're probably thinking, who wrote this? Al Ewing. Yeah, he wrote this. I believe this came out just after him wrapping up his run in the book. I think so, because the final issue, like, yeah. So, yeah, this is basically Red Harpy. That's for Red She-Hulk. This is her next appearance, right afterwards. Yep. And it's quite strange, though. The fact that that's actually his very next, that's her next appearance. And the miniseries just wrapped up. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they just wrapped this miniseries just like last month. And I believe that's the most recent thing they did with Red Harpy, aka Betty Ross. Yep. Yeah, that's the most recent thing they did with have her rejoin the Defenders, which I thought that was an interesting idea. Yeah. You were thinking, that's quite strange, the fact that that's her most recent book that she appeared in was in the final issue of Defenders. Yeah. So, Betty Ross has written out the book just to do that mini-series. And then you basically had the last couple issues kind of in the way wrap up this run. We had this weird thing for issue 49 where you have this. You have text, but at least you have things in color. Not really sure why they did this for, but that's pretty much what they did. And then for the final issue of the book, by the way, all these covers here are done by Alex Ross. I mean, who better, right? Yeah, and it's kind of revealed here in the final issue, the leader is a distant relative of the Hulk. And you're thinking, really? Excuse me. Yes, really. Apparently, the leader is, in fact, like his distant cousin. Which, that's interesting. Which seems like a very strange retcon. So why the heck would Al Ewing retcon it that apparently, like, they make it where, like, Samuel Stearns is a distant relative. Well, Samuel Stearns the First is basically a distant relative of his. Yeah, apparently he's a descendant, which is kind of weird. So, this kind of means that also that the actual, like, well, that the current Samuel Stearns is definitely a distant relative. I hope they explore this, because it's quite strange. You have two people who have fought each other, mostly on and off since the late 1960s. The leader. And you're revealing in these last few issues that he's actually just a relative of the Hulk. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. It's a weird retcon for the last issue of the series. Yep, and we have basically Hulk looking for Bruce Banner. That's simply what the last issue is. Then we have Hulk running into Jarilla, who's been dead for a long time. Yeah, she died, I think it was like in Hulk 200. Yep. Oh, by the way, when they eventually have a Gamma Flight, of course they don't know who the people are. Then of course, then Sasquatch, who by the way is actually Doc Samson. Well, yeah, where he reveals it, and then we have a guy by the name of Mike Briggett show up. Yes, Mike Briggett. And you're thinking, who the heck is this guy? You might ask. Well, he is a guy who Hulk first met back during the Peter David run. When he was a bouncer for... Let's see if I can find him here. Here we go. Mike Burke. Yeah. It's interesting, though, they bring back a Peter David character. His name is Micah Burke. He actually he appeared somewhat in the Peter David run. And this was his most recent thing he appeared in. It was interesting to see the guy again. And apparently he's dead. Which is quite interesting. I kind of wish they would explore this, but they don't. Yeah, and this guy basically was Joe Fix's boss. Yeah, during the Peter David run. I mean, I think people read this and be like, I'm glad the fact they mention who this guy is, but unless you have read the Peter David run, you're probably thinking, what the heck is this Devil Hulk talking about? Yes. And even the whole thing with God, like who this person behind the green door is, it's almost like, though, it's left ambiguous. Of, like, the one below. Yeah. It's this weird thing that they kind of explore here that apparently is a follow-up to something that Mark Waid did. Yeah, what the heck this thing looks like. Then we have this weird thing happen here in this book where you read this and you're like, okay, watch this, watch this. This actually happened in one other book I read. Where... Let's see if I can find it here. Because there's actually... did I pass it? Or basically they do this. Show us your face, look in the eye. And then this happens. Yes. This 4-page spread that they had to pull out like this. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I said, I've only seen this in like 2 other books. I think this was in like Ultimates 2. And I saw this also in Forever Evil. So this is technically the 3rd trade I've seen this in. They have Bruce Banner getting out, and then him walking out and leading directly into the Don Dakota's run, which is currently on right now, only a few issues in, and it's going to be crossover soon with Don Dakota's run for Thor, which that's going to be interesting too. This book is really good. 10 out of 10. That damn good. Alright, now I'm going to get my final thoughts on this run that lasted for 3 years, 2018 to 2021. Volume 1, remember this trade? Yep. Volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. Well, technically there's also another trade, a spin-off trade, but technically overall, for this whole trade series, there's 11 trades. And here's the thing about this trade series. It stayed the same price throughout the entire time, from this book up until this book. This one was the first one that actually is the cover price for the thing. Because the first 9 volumes, it's $15.99 for the cover price for these books. And for this one only book, it's $25. Yeah. My only guess is because it's the final trade of the run. Now, in the case of my final thoughts overall for this run, it's really good. It's something that follows up something that Al Ewing said at the... He basically, in the way, when you read this book, all 50 issues, you can clearly tell he had planned out the entire run. Though, the one thing I think that he kind of didn't really follow up with, who the heck was this God person? Which is called One Above All. Yes. Where you have the one below all, who is basically like a dark creature, who is an Al Ewing character. It's almost like the bottom. It's like this gigantic creature. Yes. You could see the other one as possibly like God. Possibly in the universe. It's in the Marvel comic universe. It's possible, to say the least, of what the heck this thing is. But it's something that, here's the thing. The One Above All has only appeared since 2004. Yes, since 2004. And he's only appeared 13 times. You're thinking, really? Yeah, really, 13 times. His dark counterpart, one below all, he's made only 23 appearances. And he's mostly appeared just in this book. Yes. He's appeared in pretty much a lot of the issues related to this book. He also appeared in Immortal Hulk. He also appeared in the one-shots, Time Monsters, Absolute Carnage, Immortal Hulk, Best Defense for the Defenders Best Defense, and Immortal Hulk Best Defense. And that's it. Yeah. I also love the fact that Al Ewing actually took the time to explain how Doc Samson was resurrected. Because clearly Bendis didn't bother with it. I mean, he just randomly brought him back in Civil War II without any explanation. And it took 2 years after he was revived to apparently have sort of an explanation. Like, apparently relates to the Green Door. And that's the reason why he was resurrected. At least Al Ewing bothered to answer that question of how the heck came back. Because here's the thing. The guy was turned into a skeleton. The guy was dead for 6 years, though he kind of briefly came back during Chaos War. But that's not full resurrection per se. But technically, if you think about it, the guy was dead for 6 years. And you're thinking, wait, was there another character dead for that same period of time? Excuse me. And the answer is yes. Yes, there was. A character who was actually brought back just a little over a year ago. The Watcher. Yep, the Watcher. Which, that was interesting to say the least. It took basically Nick Fury reviving him just by sheer coincidence relate to Aftermath of Empire. So that was basically a character killed by Jason Aaron. In the case of this book, at least they actually explained it in a Hulk book, because Doc Samson died in the Hulk book, and they show resurrection in a Hulk book, which makes total sense for that to happen. Yep. But not much else to say about the Immortal Hulk. It's just a really good run. I do highly recommend it if you're fans of the Incredible Hulk. Purely because of the fact that Al Ewing kind of goes back to Hulk's roots as a horror character, because basically Stan Lee based upon Frankenstein's monster. And I also like the fact he revisited Zamamu, the android alien who first appeared in the pages of Defenders of all things. Yes, Defenders. Who has occasionally appeared over the years. And prior to this, he only appeared once in a Hulk comic. It was an annual release back in the 80s. Yeah, he's also part of, like, I think it was like Annihilation Conquest. Yeah. But it's great, though, that you can definitely tell Al Ewing is definitely a fan of the character. And you could say this ending is basically a love letter to, like, a lot of Hulk comic books. Like, it's a love letter to Peter David, Stan Lee, obviously. I could probably say, like, let's see, who wrote the 200th issue? The guy, let's see. Yeah, it was interesting, though, that you have this love letter to these fantastic runs. So, okay, so Jarella was killed off in Incredible Hulk 205. She wasn't around very long. Yeah. But I kind of wish, basically, they would have done something more with some of these characters. But, yeah. But not much I'll say with these two trades. They're both good. Okay, so that's the cycle view. I'm going to do one more trade, and I'm going to call it a night when it comes to videos. Okay? Next video. Bye.